Okay. So good morning. So today we are going to see the approach for the economy. Today I will be discussing the introductory class for the economy. Today we will see the approach for both the preliminary and for the main. Both the examinations, how we have to prepare economy. I will give you the basics today in today's session. So economy plays a very major role in the UPSC civil services preparation, and it is having like in preliminary almost 20 questions each year comes from economy, like roughly from 15 to 20 questions come from economy. So that is short in preliminary, and in for the mains the roughly the share of the questions will be it's almost for 50 to 50 to 70 marks. So sometimes it is for 50 marks and sometimes it is for 70 marks in GS paper 3. In GS 3 you are having the economy. In GS paper 3 almost 50 to 75 marks come from economy. So economy is having this much weightage in the both preliminary and mains. Now let us see how to prepare it. So before going how to prepare, let us understand why we have to study economy. So tomorrow you are all going to be the bureaucrats. You are all going to be the civil servants and working somewhere in the in any of the government departments. So you can be an IAS officer, or you can be an IRS officer, or audit and account service officer, or an Indian police service officer, IPS officer, or you can be foreign service officer also. But at the end of the day, why we are all working? Why we have established a government? So what is the role of the government? Okay, so what is the role of the government? At the end of the day, you are going to work for the government, and what this government is going to do, this government is going to govern the people. Okay, so what is the role of the government? To collect taxes from the people and spend that money for the welfare of the people. So this is going to be the role of the government. So ultimate aid of the government is the welfare of people. So Indian government is a welfare state, so we are ultimately going to focus on the welfare of the people. So welfare means development. So one important area through which the development can be brought is economic development. Development can be in 3 dimensions. It can be political development, it can be social development, and it can be economic development. Okay, economic development. So economic development plays a major role in the upliftment of the population. This economic development is achieved by the expenditure done by the government. So government through fiscal policy does expenditure. Government every year they will be presenting the budget. Through this budget, they are spending lakhs crore of money. So let us take this example. In 2020 budget, government spent almost 30 lakh crore. In 2030's budget worth is 30 lakh crore. Government spent 30 lakh crore for the welfare of these people. So this 30 lakh crore, by setting up infrastructure, by allowing the private sectors to function, government is trying to give the good livelihood and jobs. Government is providing livelihood. Government is providing jobs for the people. Government is enabling the private sector. By enabling the private sector, what is happening? More jobs are created in the private sector and more goods are produced. Goods and services are also produced for the consumption. If more goods and services are produced for the consumption, more GDP the nation attains. If more jobs are created, more people are developed. So likewise, government is playing a huge role in the development of the people and development of the economy, and economic development plays a major part. At the end of the day, you are going to implement the policies made by the government as a bureaucrat. When you are going to implement the policies of the government, you should know the basics of economics. Only if you understand the basics of economics, you can work as a bureaucrat or a civil servant. So that is the purpose why you are going to learn the economy. Understanding the economic aspects around you, understanding the economic aspects of the nation is very important for a civil servant, and that's why we have to study the economy, because economic development plays a major role in upliftment of people. So that is why we are having this economy in syllabus. We should know. Okay. So this is the front page of my notes which I created for economy. So this is an interesting picture. It is a collage of interesting picture. Can you guys? I'm asking you the question. Can you guys explain the significance of each image? Like I think so few of you might have attended the session earlier. You guys don't answer. The new ones, those who are attending this session for the first time, can you please tell me the significance of each and every image I have placed in the screen now? Answer, yeah. It can be a wild guess also, you can guess. But each and every image which I've kept here is a very important significance. So what is the significance? Come on, anyone, answer. I'm trying to make it interactive now. Okay, Manmohan Singh did the 1991 economic reform. Yes, Krishna Kumar, you are right. bureaucrats and finance minister. Yeah, Amrita Varshini, you are close, but there is some significance. Modi sir, nationalization of bank. Yes, Jayashree, that is clear. Nationalization of bank and globalization, that is true. Any guesses about the Nehru's picture? Here we are having Nehru and there is a gentleman standing near Nehru. So what is the significance of this financial plan? Nivedita has given a guess, but that is a very close guess. Yeah, you are very close, Nivedita. Yes. GST, 5 years plan. Yeah. Okay, very good, guys. Very good, Jayashree. Very good, Ramesh. Very good, Nivedita. Thank you, Karthikeyan. Thank you, Nitya. Yeah, you all guys are right. So these 5 images are very significant for the economic development of India. This first picture here is Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister. And along with Jawaharlal Nehru, we are having this gentleman called Mahalanobis. This Mahalanobis is considered to be father of Indian statistics. Okay. So Mahalanobis along with Jawaharlal Nehru, they both are signing the second 5-year plan. Okay. So he's father of economic plan. No, he's father of Indian statistics. That is Mahalanobis. And they are signing the second 5-year plan. Second 5-year plan is a major plan which led to the industrial development in India. Whatever industrial development or whatever industrial growth we are having today, one of the main reasons is the second 5-year plan which was launched in 1956. So second 5-year plan which came in 1956 is very important for whatever industrial development we are having today. So this is the gentleman who made the plan and this is Prime Minister Nehru. So that is why I'm kept it. In 1961, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi nationalized the banks. So nationalization of bank is one of the watermark moment in the economic history of India. By nationalization, what she did? She made all the banks as the she brought all the banks under the government ownership and banks became common to people. So banks, which was functioning as a private entity for the profit, banks were functioning as a private entity for profit, was converted into a national entity which worked for the economic development of the nation. So 1965 nationalization is a very significant move which led to the proliferation of bank and financial inclusion, and it helped in the green revolution. It helped in production. So that's why this move of Mrs. Gandhi in 1969 is very crucial. Then we are having 1991. In 1991, Indian economy faced a severe economic crisis. Like we were not having enough funds to finance our exports and imports for the. So India was in the severe economic crisis in 1991. During that time, then Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, once he became Prime Minister, he appointed one of the finest economists of the nation, Dr. Manmohan Singh, as Finance Minister. So a guy with a technical background who is having a doctorate in finance and whose theses are being studied throughout the world and considered to be a top economist of the world became the finance minister of a nation. And that budget which Dr. Manmohan Singh presented in 1991 is phenomenal budget that led to the globalization, liberalization, privatization, and globalization of Indian economy, and it opened up the Indian economy. So because of this 1991 budget only, our economy has faced this continuous growth. Like Indian economy is facing the continuous growth of 5 to 8% since 1991. This continues. So before 1991, our economy was growing only at 3%, 2.5 to 3% only it was growing. But after 1991, it is growing from 5 to 8% average. This phenomenal growth is because of this 1991 LPG reforms. So that is the significance of third. This is the famous RBI governor, Dr. Raghuram Rajan. Dr. Raghuram Rajan is one of the important phenomenal RBI governor who did a lot of reforms with respect to banking. So banking related reforms, he did a lot of reforms, and under his governorship only, we understood the structural issues of the banking, and he only identified the structural issues of banking, and he only brought in many schemes for rectification of structural issues, and that's why his image placed. And 2009, this world faced a very big economic recession. So that recession also was predicted by him in 2007 itself. He warned the entire world that there will be a severe recession in 2008, 2009. And that's why he is considered to be one of the greatest economics of the world. Not only India, of the world. And finally, we are having this image. So this is our President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They both are launching GST. So government is launching GST. So GST is considered to be a very important reform with respect to the taxation. Indirect taxes were merged and converted into GST. This led to economic unification of India. Till then, India wasn't united as a single market because each state acted as a separate market because the taxation system in each state was different. So launch of GST was considered to be a phenomenal aspect with respect to India's economic development. Like since now you are starting the preparation, you might not be having a wide view with respect to all these things, but there is a reason why I am explaining this in the very starting itself. Why I am starting by explaining all these images means there is a reason. So, what is the thing we are going to study now under economy? Are we going to study economics? Are we going to study economy, or it is economic development? So this is the next question. So why I explained this was, if you could see all the images, these images here and these phenomenal incidents in the Indian economy are watershed movements with respect to economic development of Indian economy. So they are watershed with respect to economic development. Our Indian economies, economic developments, watershed movements are discussed in this image. So you have to understand one thing, guys. We are not going to study economics for UPSC preparation. People tend to think that we are going to study economics, and economics is a very difficult and dry subject. Yes, that is true. Economics is a very vast subject, very dynamic subject, and it is a very most of the people face it difficult to understand. But you guys no need to worry. In UPSC civil services examination, in UPSC civil services, we are not going to study the economics. So you no need to bother. Economics is a very wide and broad, very long syllabus. That is now we are not going to study. So what we are going to study is we are going to study economy and economic development. If you could see the syllabus, there is no word called economics in the syllabus. It is just economy and economic development. So let us understand the difference between these words. Then only you will understand. Like economics is a subject. Economics is a discipline which studies the distribution of resources among the people efficiently. So it is a very wide discipline. It is a separate subject. In that subject, economic development is just a part. So there is a part in the economics called developmental economics. So it is a type of, it is a subcategory of economics, developmental economics. So developmental economics talks about those concepts in economics which are used for the development of the nation. So whatever economics concept you need for the development of a nation. Okay, so those concepts you need for the development of nation, only that is discussed in the this part of syllabus. So what we are going to study, those concepts of economics which are needed for development and welfare of the nation, development of the nation and welfare of the citizen. That is called developmental economics, and this developmental economics only we are going to study. So developmental economics, development of which nation? Development of India. Okay, development of India and to some extent world. So economics means it is a very big subject. Economic development means it is only the developmental aspect of the one particular nation. So what is the meaning of the word economy then? So the meaning of the word economy is, so economy indicates the how the economy is structured of one particular nation. So economics is a subject, but economy indicates a one particular nation or one particular system. So for example, economy can be how the concepts of economics are dealt with respect to one particular nation called India. In India, how these economic concepts are applied, how Indian economy of India is maintained. So that you will be studying in economy. So we are going to study the developmental economics of India, and we are going to study the with respect to world economics, which one we are going to see is those things which is affecting the interest of India. Those things which is affecting the interest of India, that only we are going to study. So our entire economy preparation is going to be India centric. We are going to study only the Indian economy. So we are just going to study the Indian economy and issues in the global economy which affects the interest of India. So that only we are going to study in the subject called economic development. So no need to worry about this concept called economics. Okay, we are going to study only economy and economic development. So no need to worry. நிறைய பேர் பயந்துருப்பீங்க, like we are going to study economics, which is a very difficult subject. Don't need to worry. Okay. So if you could see this, all these aspects are important elements in the economic development. So here I would like to pause. Okay. Before going understanding the syllabus, before starting the UPSC preparation, you have to finish this book. There is this book called Indian Economic development. So this Indian economic development is the 11th standard NCERT. So you start studying this this NCERT today itself. You don't need to attend any classes to study this NCERT. This is just 11th standard book. You are all graduates of colleges. Why a graduate of college need a teacher to understand 11th standard book? Because you have already came across this 11th standard. You completed the 11th standard, right? So you can easily understand once you read it. You take this Indian economic development 11th standard book of NCERT and finish it. This book deals with the economic history of India. Economic history. So it is a history book only, economic history of India. It is a history book which deals with the economic history of India, and it talks about how India attained the economic development in the past 50 years. That is from 1950 to 2000. This book stops from 2000. So after 2000, post 2000 things will not be covered in this book. So what happened in this 50 years? That is very important to understand. So you finish this book. That is the first step towards starting the preparation for economy. Okay, this is the first step. First step, you finish this economic development book. Okay, you don't need to worry about syllabus or previous year or anything. Just take this book and study it fully and understand the concept. If you are having any doubts, come and ask me. I will clarify. Okay, so this is the first step which you have to do. It talks about the economic development of India. So now we understood what we are going to study. Now let us come to the syllabus. What we are going to study as syllabus in preliminary. If you could see, UPSC preliminary syllabus is one of the vaguely explained syllabus in the world. You will not see such a vaguely defined syllabus. It is very vaguely defined syllabus because syllabus is nothing but it is a guide. Like what syllabus tells what one should study for this examination. We are having an examination and they will be asking question in that examination. What we have to study for this examination, which topics we have to cover, that will be given in the syllabus. But if you see UPSC syllabus, it is very vague because it is like this. With respect to economy, economic and social development, sustainable development, poverty, inclusion, demographics, social sector services, etc. So these are all the words which are given in the economic syllabus for preliminary. Economic and social development. We just know what is economic development. Development of society is social development. Sustainable development is about balancing the economic development and environmental degradation. Balancing the economic development and environmental degradation is sustainable development. That is protecting the economy. Like in the name of economic development, you should not destroy the economy. Like we had the sterilite industries, which created a lot of problem in Tamil Nadu. In Thoothukudi, we even witnessed the riot also because this sterilite industry in Thoothukudi was polluting the entire area and it was polluting the river and lakes nearby. So because of this sterilite industry is provided us the much needed economic development. It helped in the growth of GDP. It increased the foreign exchange reserve because it was exporting the copper products. It was a very good industry for economy, but it was very bad industry for environment. So we should not focus only on economy by degrading the environment. So in order to balance the both, we need sustainable development which protects the economy. Then we have to discuss about the poverty. So what is poverty and related concepts? Inclusion. Inclusion means including everyone in the development process. Our economic development should not benefit only one particular group. If you could see in large, whatever growth India is facing, it is only one particular section is benefiting out of it. Like we are having this class difference of rich and poor. Rich are becoming richer and poor are becoming poorer. So this is not economic development. Economic development should be inclusive. This inclusion talks about we have to include the rich and we have to include the poor. We have to include all the castes. We are having a lot of thousands of castes in India. Each and every caste should be included. We have to include male. We have to include female. We should not stop there. We should also include the queer community. Queer community or LGBT community, transgender, lesbians and bisexuals. Each and everyone in the queer community should also be part of the development. Again, we should include the disabled people or physically challenged, moderate tirannical. So in the physically challenged, disabled people also should be part of the development and we should not let them aside. We should not let anyone aside, and we should include each and everyone into the developmental process. And that is the meaning of the word inclusion. So any schemes launched by the government which is benefiting such vulnerable people, like list of vulnerable people is poor. With respect to class, the vulnerable people are SCs and STs. With respect to gender, the vulnerable people are female and the community. With respect to, in general, disabled people, that physically challenged people are all vulnerable only. These vulnerable people also should be included in development, and any schemes launched by government for them is included here. Then demographics. So what is demographic, guys? Demographic means it is study of population. Okay, study of population is demographic. Study of economy is economic. Study of population is demographic. So population and related issues. So any issue related to population is there in the syllabus. Then social sector initiative. Social sector initiative means ensuring the social justice, Samuga Nidhi. So ensuring social justice, any issues related to social justice is included in the syllabus. See, these are all vague terminology and they have not listed, given the topics. They are just giving the vague words. So with these vague words, we cannot understand what is needed. Okay. And you could see this is the most atrocious part of the syllabus. One of the atrocity which the UPSC does with respect to defining syllabus is adding the word etc. What do you mean by the term etc.? Etc. can be anything, right? Under this word etc., you can bring anything with respect to economy. How a syllabus can have this word called etc.? So that is a very big problem with respect to UPSC, because since they are having etc., anything related to economy can be part of it. So that's why prelim syllabus is very vaguely defined, and since it is vaguely defined, we are not clear what to study. Okay, with this we are not clear what to study. So one source which we can see to understand the syllabus is previous year questions. People who are having doubts, again I'm telling, a few people are asking doubts. You please note down your doubts. Like you will be having doubts, please note down in a piece of paper. At the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A session, and there we will be discussing all the doubts you are having. Okay. Previous year question is a one play through which we can understand the syllabus. So by analyzing the 25 years previous year questions, we have identified a list of topics which we will be discussing in preliminary. For example, national income. I'm just giving the list. You don't need to note it down and all. We'll be seeing in the classes. National income, inflation, then monetary policy. Then we are having fiscal policy. In fiscal policy, we'll be seeing taxation also, taxation and budget. Okay. Then we'll be seeing business cycle. Then we'll be seeing banking. Then external sector and trade. External sector means what? It is relation of Indian economy with the external world. That is the external sector. Economic relation of Indian economy with the external world. Okay. Likewise, it is a very big list. Capital market and money market. Then we will be seeing WTO. So it is a list, and we'll be covering each and every topic. We have identified this list of topics by understanding the previous year questions. 25 years questions at the part of the all the questions can be aligned in any of these topics. So we are going to study the basics of all these topics under the economy preliminary classes, which we will be starting from the next week. Okay, we are going to cover all these topics given in the screen here, and I will be teaching you the concepts. So this is the trend over the years, like how many questions UPSC is asking. So with respect to economy, if you could see, let us consider on an average 15 to 20 questions are being asked. In this 50 to 20 questions, 50% of the questions are from the conventional area, like the topics which we saw in the previous slide. Conventional area, 50% of the question. That is from national income, inflation, external sector, capital market. From those areas, we are getting the conventional question. And the rest of the 50% of the questions are asked from the current affairs. So if you could see, almost 50% of the questions are asked from the current affairs. That is the present day economy. Okay, the present day economy. Guys, since we started this session at 9:15, it might exceed more than 1 hour also. Like I will take my own time. So no need, don't think that it's just going to be 1 hour session. It might exceed also. Please stay alert. So what we are going to do, 50%, what we are going to see is 50% of the questions are coming from conventional area and 50% of questions coming from current affairs. So conventional area means the questions will be from the concepts like national income, from the conceptual part of inflation, from the conceptual part of fiscal policy or monetary policy. So what is budget? What is revenue account? Or what is capital account? What is consumer price index? What is demand pull inflation? What is cost push inflation? So likewise, conceptually, there are 50% of question. And current affairs are like latest schemes brought in by the government for inclusion. Like inclusion is there in the syllabus. So latest scheme brought in by the government for inclusion. So those things will be from current affairs. Latest banking related schemes and issues. So those part of things which is happening in the present 1 year before the preliminary, from there also 50% of question are coming. So if you could see here, I've given two topics here. One is current events and economy. See, these are all the total number of questions which came from current affairs. Like for example, in 2019, 12 questions came from the conventional part and 7 questions came from current affairs. So in 2019 question paper, if you could take and see, 12 questions came from conventional economics and 7 questions came from current affairs. So in total, there were 19 questions from economy. So on the similar lines, in 2018 there were 11 questions from the economy and roughly there was 9 questions from current affairs. So this is total current affairs question. From that 9 questions are from economics current affairs. In 2019 28 questions, from that 7 questions are from economics current affairs. Just a second. So almost 9 questions were from current affairs. So this is how the UPSC is asking. Okay, so UPSC is asking questions from conventional 50% and current affairs 50%. So it is very important for us to study the current affairs also. Okay, so have this in mind, guys. So our preparation for economy should be focusing on current affairs also, because almost 7 to 9 questions or 10 questions are coming from current affairs. So be cautious in studying the current affairs of economy. Now let us see the mains part of it. In mains, we are having almost 10 topics in from economy. In under GS paper 3. Okay, under general studies paper 3, we are having economy. Okay, in mains paper 3, we are having economy, and from that we are having almost 7 topics. So first topic is Indian economy, issues relating to planning and mobilization of resources. So it is about planning, how the economic development is planned. Mobilization of resources means how the fund which is coming for the government, how government is mobilizing the fund and money for the expenditures, and how economic growth and development is happening, how employment is managed. So any area or any current affairs, any articles or any issues related to employment, it is there in the syllabus, because the word employment is given in the syllabus. Again, inclusive growth. We saw this inclusion in the preliminary syllabus also, and it is there in the main syllabus also. We have to include each and every one in the growth and developmental process. So employment related any issues is there in the syllabus. You have to understand here. That's why you have to understand the syllabus, because if tomorrow there is an article or editorial relating to employment, you have to think how you will analyze whether you have to study that or not. How you will know whether it is there for our syllabus, for our UPSC or not. How you will understand that? Only by seeing the syllabus. In syllabus, there is a word called employment. So you have to study that particular article. So like that only you have to know the syllabus and identify the articles. So memorize the syllabus. Next is government budgeting. So till now you would have seen before coming into the UPSC preparation, budget is about something finance minister which is coming and telling in TV, and it is discussed widely in media. And the mari or வெளிப்புறத்துல தான் budget பார்த்திருப்பீங்க. But from now onwards, this budgeting is going to be your area of study. From now onwards, from next year, if at all our finance minister is presenting the budget, I mean with respect to union government only, central government, if at all our finance minister is presenting the budget, what you have to do? You have to see the entire budget. You have to see the entire budget and you have to list down what the finance minister is talking, and you have to try to understand. So I will give you homework, guys. What you do today, you go to YouTube and you just type the budget speech. Since our finance minister is a Tamil woman, she spoke in English, because many finance minister give the budget speech in English, sorry, in Hindi. That will be a problem for us. But this year's budget was in English only, so no need to worry. You type in YouTube, you just type budget speech by Nirmala Sitharaman and see the speech. That speech will be for roughly 2 hours only. So it's just a 2 hours clip, 2 hours video. You can just see that video. Okay, see and understand what she is telling. Like you will not be understanding it completely because not only you are starting your preparation, but over the course you will be understanding. Just for the idea, I am asking you to see her speech. This entire budget is there in the syllabus. Whatever schemes government is announcing in the form of budget, we are going to study that for our preparation. So the next topic in mains is, so if there is an editorial regarding budget, you have to see. So the next topic is liberalization. So LPG. After 1991, how the economy got liberated and what are all the reforms it was taken in economy post 1991 with respect to globalization, you have to study. So globalization is part of the syllabus. So globalization, social aspect of globalization will be dealt in GS paper 1. Okay, political aspects of globalization will be dealt in GS paper 2, and economic aspects of globalization will be dealt in GS paper 3. So everything is multidimensional. So effect of liberalization of economy, changes in the industrial policy and their effects on industrial growth. How the industrial policies and industrial growth is happening. So from this itself, it is clear any schemes regarding industrial growth we have to study. Like for example, Make in India. Make in India is a scheme which is related to industrial growth. We have to study. In today also we saw, in today's current affairs also we saw this skills portal. We saw one skills portal launched by Ministry of Skill Development. We saw just today only while discussing current affairs. That skills portal aims at training the entrepreneurs. Why they are training the entrepreneurs? So that the businesses are good, so that the MSME sector and are aiding in the industrial growth. So likewise only you have to link the syllabus with the current affairs. So anything with respect to industrial growth and anything with respect to the liberalization of Indian economy, it is there in our syllabus. So the next part of the syllabus is infrastructure, energy. So energy related infrastructure means power plant, like thermal power plants. It can be thermal power plants or solar power plants or hydropower or wind power. Anything with respect to energy, or energy can be in the form of oil also, oil and petroleum. Or it can be the other fuels also, coal or natural gas. So all these aspects are part of the energy. So any issues relating to this is part of our syllabus. Any issues relating to coal is part of our syllabus. Natural gas, oil, petrol, power plants, everything is part of our syllabus only. So you have to study each and everything. Next is road. Other infrastructure like road related schemes and other things, airports and other related issues. So if there is airport is there in syllabus, then what you have to see? Transportation is there, which means road and airport railways is there. They are nothing but transportation. So anything related to transportation, it is there in our syllabus. Like for example, if you are studying any aviation related issues or railways related issue, like accident in railways or reforms in railways sector, anything related to railways, airports or roads or shipping also, they have, since ports are also there, we have to study. So transportation is completely is there in our syllabus. So if tomorrow there is an editorial regarding transportation, then you have to study. If there is a scheme relating to transportation, we have to study. So that is how the fourth topic of our main syllabus. Next, we are having investment models. So what is this investment models? So government is investing in the economy. How it is investing in the economy? Through budget. In budget, government is doing the expenditure. Through this expenditure, government is investing in the economy. But only with the government investment alone, we cannot achieve the development. We also need investment from whom? Investment from private also. Because most of the economic development which India has faced after 1991 came because of the private sector investment only. New companies are coming because private sector companies are coming. They are only providing new jobs. They are only providing the new goods and services. Okay, only after the advent of Jio only the entire internet got revolutionized. The entire 4G got revolutionized after Jio. So likewise, private companies are only coming and improving the services offered to people and goods produced to people. So private sector investment is also very important for the economic development and growth. So how government and private together are investing in the economy for the development, that thing is also there in the syllabus. So how government and private are coming together. So that is called as public-private partnership. So public-private partnership means what? So to government and private sector coming together and launching a scheme. Like for example, today also we saw that skills portal which we saw right in today's current affairs. That skills portal which was launched by Ministry of Skill Development is a joint initiative of whom? It is a joint initiative of Government of India and IBM. So IBM is a private company which along with Government of India is launching the skills portal for training the entrepreneurs. So this is public-private partnership, public and private coming together and launching a scheme. So likewise, anything which is related to this public and private partnership. So like today also we saw about the ISRO. ISRO is launching this new Space India Limited. This new Space India Limited is nothing but a public-private partnership again. It aims at bringing the public-private partnership, government and the private sector partnership. So all those things are coming under this investment models, how government and private together invest in the economy. There are many models for that investment, like build, operate, transfer, and various models. There are many models, engineering, procurement, and construction model, hybrid annuity model. Likewise, there are many models for investment, which we will be seeing in the mains class. Okay. And the next topic is land reforms in India. So land reforms means reforms which are related to land. So land is a very contentious issue. Till 1947, land wasn't equally distributed among people. A major chunk of land was held by few people. A few people were holding the large parcels of land in the name of zamindari system, zamindars. So because of this, only a few people were having land, and majority of the people were denied the right to hold land. So how this land reforms were done, how the lands from the zamindars, the government acquired the land from zamindar and distributed to people, how the land acquisition policy is there in India. Like for example, if government is constructing a project and it needs your land, they can come and buy your land. Government can come and buy your land and they will be giving you the compensation. So for example, if there is a government is constructing a bridge and that bridge is destroying, or a metro station is coming and going nearby your house, government can buy your house. Government can buy your land and they will be giving you the compensation in order to launch a government project. So appadi pandrappo, what compensation is government is giving to people? So any issues related to land and land related reforms is there in our syllabus with respect to the mains. So government brought many reforms like land ceiling, abolition of zamindari, land tenancy reform. So land ceiling, land abolition of zamindari, land tenancy reform. Like recently government brought this LAR Act. So LAR Act means Land Acquisition and Rehabilitation Act 2013. You go and study about this LAR Act. So this was again about land acquisition. So government is doing a lot of reforms in land area, and that is there in our syllabus. Okay, so the first part of the syllabus dealt with the issues of economy. Okay, so economy syllabus can be classified into two. One, economic development related issues. Two is agriculture. So agriculture is also part of the economy only. So how government is focusing on agriculture sector. This agriculture is second part of the economy syllabus. In agriculture, we are having three topics. The one is major cropping pattern. Major crops and cropping pattern means how rice, wheat, and various other crops are cultivated. Like this, you can like how it is cultivated, what is the pattern, what pattern farmer follows, how the crop rotation takes place, what crops are grown in which part of nation, what are all the various issues with respect to all these cropping patterns. So all these things we will be seeing in this major cropping pattern area. This you can study. This area is there in so this area is there in geography NCERT. So for a change, see all these things which we saw in the previous slide. This is there in economic. For example, government budgeting you will be seeing in the macroeconomics book of 12th standard. This effects of liberalization, Indian economy and planning, infrastructure and land reforms. All these things you will be seeing in the 11th standard Indian economic development book. Okay, all the basics related to that. But with respect to agriculture, these things are dealt in geography NCERT. In geography, we are having this 12th standard NCERT called India, People and Economy. India, People and Economy, we are having a 12th standard NCERT. That in the 12th standard NCERT, this cropping patterns and land related things is dealt there also. Okay, so cropping patterns of the country, different types of irrigation. So in irrigation, we are having many types, like we are having flood irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, drip irrigation, micro irrigation. Like there are various types of irrigation, like well irrigation or pond irrigation. So all the type of irrigation system is there. Then storage of agricultural produce, transport of agricultural produce. When farmer cultivates and produces the crops, that crops have to be stored somewhere before it will be sold in the market. So storage and transport of agricultural produce is there, and marketing of agricultural produce. How farmer is selling his produce, like farmer selling his produce and what price the farmer is getting. So that is a very big issue in India. So how agricultural marketing takes place? Like in India, we are having agricultural product market committees or mandis. In mandi only, this farmer will go and sell their crops. Or we are having Uravar Sandai. In Tamil Nadu, we are having this Uravar Sandai model where farmer can directly come and sell the goods to people without going into any market. So those marketing things are there in the syllabus. Okay, so that is this market. Then we are having e-technology. If any technology related to agriculture is brought by the government, that technology is there in the syllabus. Okay. So e-technology, if any e-technology government is launching, we have to study. For farmers, if a new technology is coming, we have to study the technology. Okay, so that is the syllabus. Like why I'm discussing the syllabus in details means if tomorrow there is an article in Hindu paper which says that a new device is found by a group of researchers for agriculture, a new portal is launched for farmers, a new online portal is launched for farmers to give the weather related inputs or to discuss agricultural related issues, means you have to study, because e-technology related to farmers and agriculture is there in syllabus. So that's why you have to study this. So this is the first part. Second part of agriculture which we have to study is public distribution system. Okay, so what is this public distribution system means? Ration shops. So what government is doing? Government is buying the rice and wheat and other food grains in bulk, and it is storing in the Food Corporation of India godowns. Okay, and it is distributing to people in the cheap prices. Government is buying by giving good prices to farmer, so that the farmer community is benefited, and government is distributing to people through ration shop, that is public distribution, PDS shop, at affordable cost, so that people are benefited. So this is that entire system, how government is procuring from farmer and distributing to people. What are all the various issues? Like recently government launched this one nation ration card scheme, which Tamil Nadu government opposed. Not Tamil Nadu government, many opposition parties opposed. So one nation and one ration card scheme. So like that we are having what and all new schemes brought with respect to PDS, and what reforms government is doing with respect to PDS. So that thing is dealt in the main syllabus here. Issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies. Any subsidy given by the government, like government is giving the subsidy for power, electricity is free for farmers. Government is giving subsidy in the form of MSP. So MSP is minimum support price, which government is paying to farmers and buying the goods. This minimum support prices. Then we are having public distribution systems, its objective, functioning, limitation, and issues related to food security, and any other technology. It is there. And finally, you are having animal husbandry also. Agriculture means it is not just farming of food grains, but also animal husbandry. So animal husbandry related anything is there in syllabus now. You have to be very clear. Like it can be poultry, it can be fishing, poultry, fishing, sericulture, apiculture. All these things are part of the syllabus now, because animal rearing is part of the syllabus. And finally, we are having this topic called food processing. So what is this food processing? அதாவது converting the food, processing the food. Why we have to process the food? To increase the shelf life. To increase the shelf life, that is the life of the food, and to increase the quality of the food delivered to people. To increase the quality and shelf life, you have to process the food. Like for example, converting the, see, rice is not, the rice which is cultivated by farmers is very raw. The நெல்லுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Farmers பண்றது நெல்லு தான். அந்த நெல்லு வேற, நம்ம சாப்பிடுற அரிசி வேற. How this raw rice is converted into rice which we are eating? They will be double boiling the rice. They will be boiling the rice, and they will be double boiling the rice, and they will be polishing the rice. After polishing only it gets its white color, and then only we are eating. So this is called as processing. Converting food grains into a better quality to increase the shelf life is food processing. Like other example of food processing related industry is the entire FMCG sector. That is all food related issue. Like they are converting the wheat into biscuit. So this biscuit industry, they are converting potato into chips. So all those things, all those industries whose input or whose raw materials is dependent on agriculture. all those industries whose raw material is dependent on agriculture is called as food processing industries. This food processing industry will process. They are processing the potato to make it as chips. They are processing the tomato and they are making sauce, tomato sauce. So all these things are food processing industries. They are processing the wheat and converting that into bread. So these kind of food processing industry is there in syllabus. So why UPSC has given this particular industry as part of the syllabus and it has stressed here. Already we saw industry in the previous slide itself. Anything related to industrial growth is already given. But why this particular industry is stressed here? Because that industry is the future of India. India is one of the strong nations with respect to agriculture. India is an agricultural nation and is very strong there. And if we could use the potential of agriculture in the industrial aspect also by boosting this food processing industry, India can be the food supplier for entire world. So that is the scope of this food processing industry. So these industries is going to be the future. Okay, so that's why it is there in the syllabus. So these 9 topics, these are the 9 topics, guys, for the main syllabus. Like in the similar lines, you memorize the entire syllabus. Okay, any article related to this 9 topics you have to study. Any editorial related to these 9 topics you have to study, because that is the preparation for the mains. That is the preparation for this examination. So that's why I'm discussing the syllabus in detail. I hope you would have got basic idea about the entire economy syllabus. So this is the question split up, like how many economic questions in GS3 it is coming. Like over the years, if you could see, in 2016, 100 marks came. Almost 8 questions UPSC asked for 100 marks. 6 questions came in the GS3. This is with respect to mains. Mains GS3. In GS3, in 2017, 6 questions came from this part for 75 marks. In 18, it got reduced to 50 and 4 questions. And in 19, there were again 5 questions for 75 marks. So in mains, generally, UPSC will ask 2 forms of question, 10-mark question and 15-mark question. Now UPSC is presently asking 10-mark question, 10-mark question and 10 15-mark question. So that is 100 and this is 150. So total for 250 you will be writing the GS3. So any GS paper. So they are asking both 10-mark and 15-mark. From 2000, this kind of change came from 2017 only. Before 2017, it was just 12.5 mark questions. 20 12.5 mark question, that will be total 250. It was like this. 20 12.5 mark question. Now they have made it 10 marks and 10 15 marks. So that is how the UPSC is asking in mains. From that 5 questions came. So almost it is, we can take on an average, UPSC is asking 75 marks. So in mains, 75 marks is from economy. In prelims, almost 15 to 20 questions are from economy. That is 30 to 40 marks. So this 30 to 40 marks in preliminary is very crucial, and this 75 marks in mains is also very crucial. And you can score it easily just by studying the editorials coming in the various newspapers and just by following the current affairs and getting strong in the conventional area. And the getting strong in conventional area is also very easy. You can easily finish this economy part. In mains, one of the easiest part is this economy part because everything is conceptual and you can easily understand. So these 75 marks and 15 marks are playing the major role with respect to the entire economy. Okay, now you would have understood the syllabus. Now you would have understood the split of how much marks they are asking, and you would have understood. Now I would like to show you few previous year questions. Like before the starting of the class itself, I would like to show you certain previous year questions, because only if we see previous year question, we can understand how UPSC is asking questions. Only if we understand how UPSC is asking questions, then only we can study. Like for example, if there is a question relating to if there is an article relating to banking related issue, or if like for example, government launched this, like RBI brought in this new thing for regulation of banks. So how you have to study that? That is an entire article. In which dimension you have to study? Which part of the article you have to note? How you will understand? You will understand that only if you see the previous year. So let us understand how UPSC is asking the previous year preliminary question. And I already said you that in preliminary, 50% are from conventional area. Okay, and 50% from current affairs. So this 50% of question which is coming from conventional area, the difficulty of the question is very basic. It is very simple question only they are asking. The difficulty is easy, very easy question, very simple question. What is what? In that level only they are asking in preliminary from conventional area, from national income, inflation, banking, all these things from conventional part of UPSC is asking. It is just simple question only. What is what? What is that? What is this? So they are just testing your basic understanding. That's why I'm telling you guys, if you could see the questions, you will be understanding that. That's why I'm telling you, just understand the basic concepts. With respect to economy, what we have to do is we have to understand the basic concepts only. Basic concepts of all the topics which I mentioned, like national income, like inflation. Okay, national income, inflation. Then we saw banking, monetary policy, fiscal policy, business cycle. All these topics, just understand the basic concept. Don't go into deep. Because what is the name of the subject? The name of the subject is general studies. In both preliminary and mains, the subject name is what they are giving is general studies. General studies means what? பொதுவா படிக்கிறது. ஜெனரல்னா என்ன? பொதுவா மேலால சிம்பிளா படிக்கிறது தான் general studies. It is not going into deep. ஒரு normal citizen, normal simple citizen, whatever he knows basically, that is only general studies. Okay, it is not specialization. Specialization you have to do only in optional. If you are taking economics optional, you have to study the entire core economics up to bachelor's degree level, BA economics level வரைக்கும் படிக்கணும். If you are for general studies, just study the basics, just study the fundamental, just study generally. So அதனால all this concept இருக்க basic concept understand பண்ணிட்டா போதும். Questions are also very basic only. If I show you the previous year question, you will understand. See, this is one question which UPSC asked in 2000. This question was asked in 2019, guys. This question is a 2019 question. Which of the following are assets of the bank? Like every bank will have assets and liabilities. I'm not going to explain the concept. No, don't worry about the concept. You will not understand any question because I haven't taught you anything in economy. We didn't start the economic class at all. How you will understand? So no need to worry about the understanding of question. Just understand how they are asking, at what level they are asking. Every bank will have its own assets and liabilities. So there are a few things which are assets of the bank. There are a few things which are liability of the bank. Assets of the banks are deposits. People deposit is assets of the banks are the loans which the bank give to people. So they are just loans. What are all the liability? Liability means those things which bank have to pay back. What bank have to pay back? The deposits they have to pay back. Okay. So which of the following is not included in asset? Those things which is a liability, that is the not included in asset. So deposit is a liability. So it is not asset. So in the very simple only they are asking what is asset, what is liability. These are banking a simple concept. Okay. I'm just showing you the level. Which of the following, like Indian rupee was falling with respect to dollar. Indian rupee dollar கிட்ட fall ஆயிட்டே இருக்குன்னா, that is called as currency crisis. Currency crisis na rupee falling, rupee weakening. So what they are asking, which of the following help in the reducing the currency risk? Currency risk வராம reduce பண்றதுக்கு எது help பண்ண போகுது? So இதெல்லாம் தான் வந்து basics. What is currency risk and what are the factors will reduce it ங்கிறது பேசிக்கா நம்ம எக்கனாமில படிக்க போறோம். So அதனால it is easy to understand. Just simple level conceptual understanding இருக்கா அவ்வளவுதான் டெஸ்ட் பண்றாங்க. So participatory note னு ஒரு note இருக்கு. So it is an instrument which is foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investment படிப்போம். Foreign portfolio investmentல one of the tool தான் participatory notes. இங்க என்ன கேட்டிருக்காங்க? Participatory notes ஓட definition கொடுத்துட்டாங்க. Definition கொடுத்துட்டு இது என்னதுன்னு கேக்குறாங்க. Which of the following is issued by registered foreign portfolio investor to overseas investor who want to be part of the Indian stock market without registering? This is nothing but definition of participatory note. Participatory note ஓட definition questionல கொடுத்துட்டு அது என்னன்னு கேக்குறாங்க. இந்த மாதிரி சிம்பிளா தான் இருக்கு. What is what அந்த லெவல்ல தான் கேக்குறாங்க. Deep conceptual, deep understanding அதெல்லாம் எதுவுமே கேக்குறது இல்ல. What is money multiplier? Money multiplier னு இந்தியன் எக்கானமில ஒரு கான்செப்ட் இருக்கு. What is money multiplier னு கேக்குறாங்க. அவ்வளவுதான். சிம்பிள். இந்தியன் ரூபி ஃபால் ஆறப்போ லைக் இது வந்து 2018ல கேட்ட 2019ல கேட்ட சாரி 18ல கேட்ட क्वेश्चन தான். அப்போதான் வந்து இந்தியன் ரூபி was falling very badly. Which one of the following is the most likely measure government takes to stop the slide of Indian rupee? Indian rupee fall ஆறப்போ கவர்மெண்ட் என்ன மெத்தட் எடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஓகே, சோ அப்போ நீங்க இதை எப்படி புரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னா 2018 டிசம்பர் டைம்ல இந்தியன் ரூபி வாஸ் ஃபாலிங் வெரி பேட்லி. அப்போ என்ன பண்ணாங்க, கவர்மெண்ட் அண்ட் ஆர்பிஐ ரெண்டு பேரும் சேர்ந்து நிறைய மெஷர்ஸ் எடுத்தாங்க இன் ஆர்டர் டு ரிவோக் திஸ் ஸ்ட்ரென்தன் த ரூபி. அந்த மெஷர்ஸ்லாம் நீங்க படிச்சிருந்தீங்கன்னா யூ வுட் ஹவ் அண்டர்ஸ்டுட் ஓகே இந்த மெஷர்ஸ் எடுத்தா வி கேன் ஸ்ட்ரென்தன் த ரூபின்னு. சோ அதுக்கு ஆப்போசிட்டா ஏதாவது ஒரு ஆன்சர்ல இருந்தா அதான ஆன்சர். ஸோ நீங்க கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ் ஒழுங்கா ஃபாலோ பண்ணிக்கிட்டு புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டாலே போதும். ஸோ கொஸ்டின் வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைப் வந்து கான்செப்சுவல் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்பாங்க, பேசிக் கான்செப்ட்ஸ்ல இருந்து. செகண்ட் கொஸ்டின் என்னதுன்னா கான்செப்டையும் கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸையும் மிக்ஸ் பண்ணி கேட்கறது. ஸோ அப்போ என்ன கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ்ல இருந்தது 2018ல ருபி ஃபால் ஆயிட்டு இருந்தது கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ்ல இருந்தது. ஸோ ருபி ஃபால் ஆயிட்டு இருந்தது கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ்ல இருக்குன்னா அதை அட்ரஸ் பண்றதுக்கு கவர்மெண்ட் ஒரு சில ஸ்டெப்ஸ் எடுத்தாங்க. அந்த ஸ்டெப்ஸ் எல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு புரிஞ்சிருந்ததுனாலே என்ன ஸ்டெப்ஸ் எடுத்தா ருபி ஃபால் ஆகுறது தடுக்க முடியுங்கிறது உங்களுக்கு புரிஞ்சிருக்கும். ஸோ கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸையும் கன்வென்ஷனையும் சேர்த்து வச்சு கேட்கறது தான் இந்த மாடல். ஒரு சில மாடல் ஆஃப் கொஸ்டின் வந்து ஃபேக்சுவலா இருக்கும். லைக் செகண்ட் 5 இயர் பிளான்ல என்ன, ஃபோர்த் 5 இயர் பிளானோட எய்ம் என்ன, ஃபிஃப்த் 5 இயர் பிளானோட எய்ம் என்னன்னு they are just asking the factual information. ஸோ ஃபேக்சுவலாவும் கேட்பாங்க. இது வந்து இந்தியன் எக்கனாமிக் டெவலப்மெண்ட் புக் படிச்சிருந்தாலே you can easily answer this question. With reference to land reforms in India, இந்தியால land reformsல என்னென்ன பண்ணாங்க, இது இந்தியன் எக்கனாமிக் டெவலப்மெண்ட், it is there. So study NCERTs பேசிக் லெவல்ல அதோட அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் இருந்தாலே போதும். ஸோ பாவர்ட்டி லைன் பத்தி, பாவர்ட்டி இஸ் அஃபிஷியல் பாவர்ட்டி லைன் பத்தி ஒரு கொஸ்டின், லைக் பிலோ பாவர்ட்டி லைன், above பாவர்ட்டி லைன். நம்ம பாவர்ட்டி டிஸ்கஸ் பண்றப்போ வில் பி சீயிங் தட். அகைன் ஃபேக்சுவல் ஃப்ரம் கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ். ஸோ கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ்ல வந்து கோல் ரிலேட்டடா கவர்மெண்ட் ஒரு ஸ்கீம் கொண்டு வந்தாங்க. ஸோ கோல் செக்டர் ரிலேட்டடா ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. எல்லாமே பேசிக் லெவல் தான். ஸோ இங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா வாட் இஸ் த பர்பஸ் ஆஃப் இன்டர் கிரெடிட்டர் அக்ரிமெண்ட். ஸோ குரூப் ஆஃப் பேங்க் வந்து என்ன பண்ணாங்க, குரூப் ஆஃப் பேங்க்ஸும் ஒரு குரூப் ஆஃப் கம்பெனிஸும் இன்டர் கிரெடிட்டர் அக்ரிமெண்ட் ஒரு அக்ரிமெண்ட் சைன் பண்ணாங்க. அந்த அக்ரிமெண்ட் பத்தி இப்போ தேவையில்ல. They just signed it and it was there in current affairs. Purely current affairs oriented question. This was a question which was asked in 2019. 2019 January timeல February timeல பேங்க்ஸும் கம்பெனிஸும் சேர்ந்து they signed an agreement called intercreditor agreement. What is the purpose of intercreditor agreement? சிம்பிளா டைரக்டா கேக்குறாங்க. So all the questions are at simple level only. Atal Innovation Mission. So Atal Innovation Mission is a scheme again. This scheme is set up by which of the following ministry? So எந்த ஸ்கீம் படிச்சாலும் என்ன மினிஸ்ட்ரி கீழ இருக்கணும்னு படிக்கணும்னு சொன்னேன். ஸோ இது வந்து 2016ல வந்த கொஸ்டின் நினைக்கிறேன். இட் இஸ் a ஸ்கீம் ஆஃப் நீத்தி ஆயோக். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்கீம் கொண்டு வந்தாங்கன்னா எந்த மினிஸ்ட்ரி கீழ இருக்கு. இதை விட சிம்பிளா ஒரு ஸ்கீம் கொஸ்டின் கேட்கவே முடியாது. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி தான் வந்து கொஸ்டின்ஸ் ஆர் பீங் ஆஸ்க். வெரி சிம்பிள். வாட் இஸ் மர்ச்சன்ட் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் ரேட்? டிமானிட்டைசேஷன் அப்போ மர்ச்சன்ட் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் ரேட்னா என்னதுன்னா, நம்ம இப்போ வந்து கடையில போயிட்டு when we are paying will be using கார்டு யூஸ் பண்ணா நாங்க சார்ஜ் பிடிப்போம், டாக்ஸ் பிடிப்போம்னு சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, அந்த சார்ஜ் தான் வந்து மர்ச்சன்ட் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் ரேட். நீங்க கார்டு யூஸ் பண்ணி பேமெண்ட் பண்ணி ஸ்வைப் பண்ணீங்கன்னா அதுக்கு ஒரு சார்ஜ் பிடிப்பாங்களா, அதுதான் மர்ச்சன்ட் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் ரேட். டிமானிட்டைசேஷன் வந்தப்போ அந்த மர்ச்சன்ட் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் ரேட் எல்லாமே வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் ரிமூவ் பண்ணாங்க. அதனால வந்து 2017ல இந்த கொஸ்டின் கேட்கலாம். டிமானிட்டைசேஷன் 2016ல கவர்மெண்ட் மர்ச்சன்ட் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் ரேட்டை ஃபுல்லா ஜீரோ ஆக்கிட்டாங்க. ஆனா 2017ல வாட் இஸ் மெர்ச்சன்ட் டிஸ்கவுண்ட் ரேட்னு கேட்கலாம். இந்த மாதிரி தான் எல்லாமே வாட் இஸ் வாட் தான். ஸோ என்கே சிங் கமிட்டியோட ரெக்கமெண்டேஷன், லிஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ரெக்கமெண்டேஷன் கொடுத்துருந்தாங்க. ஸோ அந்த ரெக்கமெண்டேஷன்ஸ் ஒரு கமிட்டி கொடுத்த ரெக்கமெண்டேஷன்ல இருந்து டைரக்டா கொஸ்டின் கேட்கறாங்க. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி தான் வந்து கொஸ்டின்ஸ் வந்து கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ்ல சிம்பிளாகவும் ஃபேக்சுவலாகவும் they are asking. So you keep this in mind. Whenever you are studying economy, you just remember two things. One thing is I should understand this issue which is happening in the current affairs. Current affairsல நடக்கிறது எனக்கு புரிஞ்சிடணும். Then I should understand the basic conventional part of it. அத பேசிக் லெவல்ல ஃபண்டமெண்டலா புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். இது ரெண்டும் தான். ஸோ நான் லைக் ஃபியூ பீப்புள் லைக் நான் வந்து ஜென்ரலா வந்து எவ்ரி இயர் டீச் பண்றப்போ ஐ ஹவ் சீன் அ ட்ரெண்ட். பீப்புள் வந்து எக்கனாமிக்ஸ் படிக்கிறப்போ they will go very deep. ரொம்ப டீப்பா போயிட்டு ரொம்ப அவுட் ஆஃப் தி பாக்ஸை யோசிச்சு ரொம்ப கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆயிடுவாங்க. எக்கனாமிக்ஸ் கான்செப்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் எப்படி புரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னா அந்தந்த கான்செப்ட பேசிக் லெவல்ல அங்கங்க புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ரொம்ப டீப்பா வந்து யூ should not go and dig in. Okay, so that is the thing I am trying to tell. Just a second guys, I'll come back. I'll just tell you one thing. They are asking me to wind up the session. I'll just talk to them and I'll come back in 2 minutes. So hello guys, the next history session, வந்து for the day வந்து is being cancelled now because it is already late now, because we are also having another session at 11:30. This history session will be done in the next week guys, so sorry for the inconvenience. So we'll continue with the economy introduction session now, and we'll continue for another 15-20 minutes because this session cannot be finished in 1 hour. So that is the reason why I'm taking this extended time. So sorry sir, sorry Valan sir, நீங்களும் செஷன் அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்கன்னு பார்த்தேன். ஸோ ஹிஸ்ட்ரி செஷன் வில் ஹேவ் ஆன் மண்டே. ஐம் சாரி சார், சாரி. லைக் நம்ம வில் கண்டினியூ திஸ் செஷன் அண்ட் வில் வைண்ட் அப் கைஸ். ஓகே ஓகே, வில் கண்டினியூ த செஷன். So okay, so till now let us come back to the economy session. Guys, one thing you would have understood. The thing is, whatever questions which is being asked in preliminary, it is either from the conventional area or from current affairs. The conventional questions are very simple. What is what and the level of the kekranga. So try to understand the basic things. Okay, so no need to go into deep and get confused. Now I would like to show you few mains questions. Mains la vandu economy la eppadi kekranga. Like a few guys also asked me how they are asking mains question. So I'll just show you the mains question, how the questions are being asked. So this is the mains questions we have given with respect to the. I hope everyone can see the screen. We have done the split up with respect to the years. What are the questions asked in each year? So see the 2019 question, how they are asking mains question. So from Indian economic development topic, we will see. Do you agree with the view that GDP growth and low inflation have developed? How the GDP growth and inflation, what is the relationship between the inflation and GDP growth? We'll be studying as a concept. They are asking this as a question itself with the practical examples. So like that only they'll be asking question in the mains. Enumerate the indirect taxes which have been subsumed in GST. So GST was launched. What are all the various taxes which was brought under the GST? And what are all the problems with respect to GST? They are asking. Comment on the revenue implications of GST. So what are all the various problems with respect to GST? They are just asking. Okay. Enumerate the indirect taxes which have been subsumed in the GST and what. So in the current affairs, the mains question is mostly 90% வந்து மெயின்ஸ் கொஸ்டின் ஃப்ரம் எக்கானமி வில் பி ஃப்ரம் கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ் ஒன்லி. கன்வென்ஷனல் ஏரியால இருந்து ரேரா தான் வரும். இப்போ இங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா கூட இன்ஃபிளேஷன் ஜிடிபி growth பத்தி ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்டிருக்காங்க, பட் ஸ்டில் திஸ் இஸ் லிங்க்டு டு கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ். ஓகே, கிவ் ரீசன்ஸ் டு சப்போர்ட் யுவர் ஆர்குமெண்ட்ஸ். இந்த ரீசன்ட் எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ் வச்சு கூட நம்ம கொடுத்துருவோம். ரீசெண்டா தான் ஜிடிபி growthம் லோ இன்ஃபிளேஷனும் ஒன்னா போயிட்டு இருக்கு. ஸோ வாட் இஸ் த இம்ப்ளிகேஷன் ஆஃப் தட்னு கேட்கறாங்க. ஸோ மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் தி கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ் வந்து வரும். அகைன் ஜிஎஸ்டி இஸ் கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ் திங். பிளானிங். ஸோ நீ பிளானிங் கமிஷன் ஒரு பாடி அபாலிஷ் பண்ணிட்டு நீத்தி ஆயோக் ஒரு புது பாடி கொண்டு வந்தோம். ஸோ ஹவு ஆர் த பிரின்சிபல்ஸ் ஃபாலோட் பை நீத்தி ஆயோக் இஸ் டிஃபரெண்ட் ஃப்ரம் தோஸ் ஃபாலோட் பை பிளானிங் கமிஷன். பிளானிங் கமிஷனுங்கிற பாடி 2015 நம்ம அபாலிஷ் பண்ணி 2015 நீத்தி ஆயோக் வருது. இந்த நீத்தி ஆயோக் பிளானிங் கமிஷன்ல இருந்து எப்படி டிஃபரெண்டா இருக்கு? ஸோ தே ஆர் ஜஸ்ட் ஆஸ்கிங் த டிஃபரன்ஸ் பிட்வீன் த டூ ஆர்கனைசேஷன். அகைன் தட் இஸ் ஃப்ரம் கரண்ட் அஃபேர்ஸ். ஏன்னா நீத்தி ஆயோக் வாஸ் பிரசன்ட் brought in the current affairs. ஸோ பிளானிங்ங்கிற ஒரு வேர்டு இங்க இருக்குல்ல சிலபஸ்ல, அந்த பிளானிங்ங்கிற வேர்டுக்கு தே ஆர் ஆஸ்கிங். ஸோ இந்தியாவில் இருக்கிற டாப் பிளானிங் பாடிஸ் we are having is நீத்தி ஆயோக். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி தான் வந்து they'll be asking. Inclusive growth na என்னங்கிறது பார்த்தோம். Like inclusive growth na bringing in everyone with respect to growth. See the question. It is argued that strategy of inclusive growth is intended to meet the objective of inclusiveness and sustainability together. So inclusiveness and sustainability. Inclusive growth வந்து எல்லா பீப்புளையும் இன்க்ளூட் பண்றது மட்டும் இல்ல, என்வாயரன்மெண்ட் ப்ரொடெக்ட் பண்றதும் கூட. Comment on this statement. We have to just give our idea with respect to statement. So இந்த மாதிரி தான் they are asking. In 2017 question பாருங்க. What are all the salient features of inclusive growth? How India is experiencing such process? India how we can bring in this inclusive growth more. India inclusive growth கொண்டு வரதுக்கு இன்னும் என்ன மெத்தட்ஸ் எடுக்கலாம், மெஷர்ஸ் எடுக்கலாம், இந்த மாதிரி they are asking. அதே மாதிரி ஃபினான்ஷியல் இன்க்ளூஷனுக்காக லைக் பேங்க் அக்கௌண்ட்ஸ் ஓபன் பண்றதுக்கு we brought in this Jan-Dhan Yojana scheme. So Pradhan Mantri Jan-Dhan Yojana scheme oda analysis, how well the Pradhan Mantri Jan-Dhan Yojana has helped in financial inclusion, but they are asking. So this is how the questions are asked. See budgeting la irundhu na or question ungalku kaatran parunga. 2017 வந்த கொஸ்டின் இது. See this question is 2017 question. 2017 பட்ஜெட்டை வந்து அனலைஸ் பண்ணுங்கன்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. 2017ல அருண் ஜேட்லி வந்து ஒரு பட்ஜெட் தாக்கல் பண்றாரு. அந்த பட்ஜெட்டை அனலைஸ் பண்ணுங்கன்னு they are asking a question. One of the intended objective of the union budget in 2017-18 is to transform, energize and clean India. அதான் அந்த பட்ஜெட்டோட தீம். அருண் ஜேட்லி சார் கொண்டு வந்த அந்த பட்ஜெட்டோட தீம் அதுதான். அனலைஸ் த மெஷர் ப்ரோபோஸ் இந்த பட்ஜெட் 2017-18 அண்ட் அச்சீவ் த அப்ஜெக்டிவ். ஸோ ஒரு பட்ஜெட்ல இருந்து டைரக்டா அதை அனலைஸ் பண்ணுங்கன்னு கொஸ்டின் கேட்கறாங்க. ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் ஹவ் தே ஆர் ஆஸ்கிங். ஸோ வாட் இஸ் ஜெண்டர் பட்ஜெட்டிங்? உமன் ரிலேட்டட் பட்ஜெட்டிங் என்ன? ஜெண்டர் பட்ஜெட்டிங் ஒரு டைப் இருக்கு, அது என்ன? ஸோ 2018ல வந்து லாங் டேர்ம் கேபிட்டல் கெயின்ஸ் டாக்ஸ் வந்து கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து ஒரு சில சேஞ்சஸ் கொண்டு வந்தாங்க கேபிட்டல் கெயின்ஸ் டாக்ஸ்ல. கேபிட்டல் கெயின்ஸ் டாக்ஸ் என்னங்கிறது டாக்ஸேஷன் பார்ப்போம். ஸோ ஒரு டாக்ஸேஷன் சிஸ்டம்ல கவர்மெண்ட் ஒரு சேஞ்ச் கொண்டு வராங்க, அது ரிலேட்டடா ஒரு கொஸ்டின் வருது. ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் ஹவ் தே ஆர் ஆஸ்கிங் கொஸ்டின். லேண்ட் ரிஃபார்ம்ஸ்ல டிஸ்கஸ் த ரோல் ஆஃப் லேண்ட் ரிஃபார்ம்ஸ் இன் அக்ரிகல்ச்சரல் டெவலப்மெண்ட். இந்த மாதிரி லேண்ட் ரிஃபார்ம் ரிலேட்டடா இருக்கும். அதே மாதிரி இந்த லார் ஆக்ட் சொன்னால லேண்ட் அக்விசிஷன், ரீஹாபிலிட்டேஷன் அண்ட் ரீசெட்டில்மெண்ட் ஆக்ட். 2013ல இந்த ஆக்ட் கொண்டு வந்தாங்க. 2014ல இந்த கொஸ்டின் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. 2013ல இந்த ஆக்ட் கொண்டு வராங்க. லேண்ட் அக்விசிஷன், ரீஹாபிலிட்டேஷன் அண்ட் ரீசெட்டில்மெண்ட் ஆக்ட் 2013ல கொண்டு வராங்க. 2014ல அதை பத்தி ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்கு. ஸோ இந்த வருஷம் லேண்ட் ரிஃபார்ம்ஸ் ஏதாவது ஒன்று பண்ணாங்கன்னா அது கொஸ்டினா வரலாம். அந்த மாதிரி இன்ஃபரன்சஸ் வி கேன் கெட் ஒன்ஸ் வி see the previous year question. அதுக்காக தான் நான் பார்க்கணும்னு சொல்றேன். ஸோ 2013ல ஒரு ஆக்ட் வந்த உடனே 2014ல அந்த ஆக்டை பத்தி ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்கறாங்கிறது நீங்க பார்த்த உடனே நீங்க என்ன புரிஞ்சுக்கணும்? 2020ல கவர்மெண்ட் ஒரு ஆக்ட் கொண்டு வருதுன்னா 2021 மெயின்ஸ் எக்ஸாம்ல அதை பத்தி ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்கும். ஸோ அதனால அந்த ஆக்ட் படிக்கணும். இந்த மாதிரி தான் இன்ஃபரன்சஸ் யூ ஹேவ் டு டேக். ரைட் டு ஃபேர் காம்பன்சேஷன் அண்ட் டிரான்ஸ்பரன்சி ஆஃப் லேண்ட் அக்விசிஷன் ஆக்ட் பத்தி ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்கு. ஸோ அகைன் இந்த மாதிரி வந்து நிறைய மெயின்ஸ் கொஸ்டின் வரும். லைக் நம்ம எல்லாமே டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறது இட்ஸ் வெரி டிஃபிகல்ட் திங். ஸோ கிராப்பிங் பேட்டர்ன், ஹவு ஃபார் இன்டகிரேட்டட் ஃபார்மிங் சிஸ்டம் இஸ் ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல் இன் சஸ்டெய்னிங் அக்ரிகல்ச்சர். ஸோ இன்டகிரேட்டட் ஃபார்மிங் சிஸ்டம்னு ஒன்று இருக்கு. அதாவது என்னன்னா அனிமல் ஹஸ்பண்ட்ரி ஃபார்மிங் சேர்ந்து பண்றது. அதோட பெனிஃபிட்ஸ் என்ன அது பத்தி கேட்கறாங்க. ஹவு கேன் பயோடெக்னாலஜி ஹெல்ப் இன் இம்ப்ரூவிங் த ஸ்டாண்டர்ட்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஃபார்மர். ஸோ இ டெக்னாலஜி இன் எய்ட் ஆஃப் ஃபார்மர்ஸ் பார்த்தோம்ல, பயோடெக்னாலஜி எப்படி ஃபார்மர் ஸ்கேல் பண்ணலாம், லைக் ஹைபிரிட் வெரைட்டிஸ் பண்றது, ஒரு ஜெனட்டிகலி மாடிஃபைட் கிராப்ஸ் பண்றது, அந்த மாதிரி. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி தான் வந்து இட் இஸ் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் ஆர் கமிங். ஸோ ஜஸ்ட் ஹேவ் அ லுக் அட் தி கொஸ்டின். ஓகே, ஐ வில் ஷேர் திஸ் புக். இது வந்து ஆக்சுவலி இட்ஸ் வெரி புக் கம்பைலேஷன் ஆஃப் கிங் மேக்கர்ஸ் ஐஏஎஸ் அகாடமி. நீங்க ஆஃப்லைன் கிளாஸஸ்ல வந்து இருந்தீங்கன்னா இந்த புக் உங்களுக்கு கையிலே கொடுத்துருப்போம். இது என்னதுன்னா மெயின்ஸ் சிலபஸ் இருக்குல்ல, லைன் பை லைன், GS 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4ஓட என்டையர் சிலபஸ் வந்து வாட் வி ஆர் டூயிங் ஃபார் ஈச் அண்ட் எவ்ரி லைன் ஆஃப் சிலபஸ் வி ஆர் டேக்கிங் ப்ரீவியஸ் இயர் கொஸ்டின். அந்த லைனுக்கு ப்ரீவியஸ் இயர்ல என்னென்ன கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருக்காங்க அது எல்லா கொஸ்டின்ஸோட கம்பைலேஷன் இருக்கும். லைக் ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஐ ஷோ யூ. திஸ் இஸ் த ஹிஸ்டரி சிலபஸ், இந்தியன் ஆர்ட் அண்ட் கல்ச்சர். இந்த ஆர்ட் அண்ட் கல்ச்சர் கீழே எல்லா வருஷமும் என்னென்ன கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருக்காங்க, 19ல என்ன கொஸ்டின், 18ல என்ன கொஸ்டின், 17ல என்ன, 16ல என்ன, 15ல என்ன. இது வந்து ஒரு கொஸ்டின் பேங்க். ஒரு டாபிக் சிலபஸ்லயும் என்னென்ன கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருக்காங்க என்டையர் ஐடியா. I'll share the PDFs now as a handout. This PDF you can use this PDF as handout now and you can see. Okay, I hope you have understood the main question. Now we'll go to the final part of this session, resources. நான் எதை பார்த்து இப்போ படிக்கிறது, how to prepare now. Let us start with the preliminary. So preliminary பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் what are all the resources to refer? First வந்து NCERT. You have to study these two NCERT mandatorily. First, finish the Indian Economic Development 11th standard book. Okay. So first finish the Indian Economic Development 11th standard book, then study the Introduction to Macroeconomics. This Introduction to Indian Economic Development you can start now itself. You don't need to wait for any class. நீங்களே எடுத்து you can just read it out. இது just படிக்கிற மாதிரி தான் இருக்கும். But Introduction to Macroeconomics வந்து you need help. So for this நீங்க என்ன பண்ணணும்னா, once you finish the concept, if, for example, if I'm finishing the national income, you can go and take the national income and study. If I'm finishing inflation, you can go and take the inflation and study. So அந்த மாதிரி every time when I'm finishing the topics, you can take this macroeconomics book and finish that particular unit. If I'm teaching the fiscal policy, you can go and study the fiscal policy. So அந்த மாதிரி you can finish this 12th standard book. So apart from these two NCERTs, India, People and Economy ன்னு ஒன்று இருக்கு. India, People economy. So this is the 12th standard NCERT of geography. இது எப்படியுமே geography you have to study, and in the NCERT லயும் நிறைய economic geography related things is there. So economy related ஒரு சில chapters இருக்கு, and you have to study that. Okay, so எப்படி இந்த NCERT you have to study fully for geography also. So remember economy also in mind. Economic geography la like resources, agriculture, okay, resources, agriculture adha adla da irukum. So you have to see that. Now the next question will come is 11th 12th NCERT is only. What about 6th to 10th? So in 6th to 10th it is optional. 6th to 10th I am giving it your own decision. If you want to like இது எடுத்த உடனே இந்தியன் எக்கனாமிக் டெவலப்மெண்ட் படிக்கிறது, if you are facing it very difficult, if you Indian economic development, if you are facing it very difficult to begin with, and you are telling, if you are feeling that it is difficult to start, then what you can do, you can go to 6th to 10th standard NCERTs. 6th to 10th standard NCERT எப்போ போகணும்னா 11th and 12th NCERT காம்ப்ளிகேட்டடா இருக்கு, புரிஞ்சுக்க கஷ்டமா இருக்குன்னா இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் சிம்பிளர் ஃபார்ம் you have to go. That is 6th to 10th. Then you can take 6th to 10th and you can study the economy related book. Actually 6th to 10th, 6th to 8th la வந்து economy பெருசா இருக்காது. Only in 9th and 10th you will be having the economy related topics in the social NCERT. So அந்த NCERT ல அது மட்டும் படிச்சுக்கலாம். Okay, so this is with respect to the NCERT. So that is the first thing which you have to study. Next I will be giving you notes for whatever I am teaching, my class notes. The second resources we have to see for each and every unit which I'm teaching is my class notes. You have to study, and the notes are top to bottom, full detail you have to finish. Okay, after finishing my class notes, you can take this book. So these books வந்து again நான் வந்து முதல் priority இதுதான். First you have to finish this, and second you have to finish this. After finishing these two thoroughly, you have to take this key concepts. There is a book called Key Concepts in Economy by Shankar Ganesh. Key Concepts in Economy by Shankar Ganesh ஒரு புக் இருக்கு. அந்த புக்ல வந்து இட் இஸ் a small book. அந்த புக்ல வந்து என்னென்ன key concepts economy preliminary தேவணுமோ all the preliminary concepts whichever is required with respect to economy for preliminary examination is dealt at the very basic level. அது படிச்சா basically you can understand all the topics. Okay, you can finish that. And we are also planning to give our notes. Actually my class notes இருக்குல்ல, my class notes வந்து it is being converted into a new book, economy book. Okay, my class notes வந்து முன்னாடிலாம் வந்து when I am teaching what I will do, I used to give my class notes. Now I will not be giving my class notes. Instead we will be giving a Kingmakers IAS Academy book. Kingmakers IAS Academy economy book னு ஒரு தனி book வருது. So that is the second thing which you have to see. Third thing, you can see this key concepts. The fourth thing which you can see is selective reading of Ramesh Singh. Ramesh Singh னு ஒரு book இருக்கு, Indian Economy by Ramesh Singh. This book is a very big book and very detailed book. இது வந்து ஃபுல்லா படிக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. When I am teaching the concept, I will itself tell which unit to study. நான் சொல்ற அந்த யூனிட்டை மட்டும் படிச்சா போதும். Like now itself I can tell. Planning னு ஒரு யூனிட் இருக்கு, that thing you have to study. Then agriculture. Then industry. So இந்த மூணு யூனிட் மட்டும் ரமேஷ் சிங்ல படிச்சா போதும். This 3 units is enough to study in Ramesh Singh. No need to study anything else. Just planning unit, agriculture unit, industry unit. So அது மட்டும் படிச்சா போதும். So this is how the books are there. But I will give you another short method. So when we were making this Kingmakers IAS Academy economics book, Kingmakers economic book இன்னும் கொஞ்ச நாள்ல ரிலீஸ் ஆகும். And the economic book when we were making, what we did was we took whatever needed from this NCERT and we took whatever thing we can take from Shankar Ganesh and Ramesh Singh. இது மூணுத்துல நமக்கு எது வேணுமோ அதை மட்டும் எடுத்து கம்பைல் பண்ணி கொடுத்திருக்கிற ஒரு கம்பைலேஷன் தான் இந்த எக்கானமி புக். Okay, that's why I'm telling you, no matter whichever book any academy is giving, you have to study NCERT. எந்த அகாடமில எந்த புக் கொடுத்தாலும் studying NCERT is mandatory. You have to finish it. After finishing this NCERT, go to Kingmakers IAS Academy oda economy book. Okay, only after finishing the economy book, and if you are having time, then go to these two books. Otherwise you don't need to go. Okay, only if you are having time and only if you are having enough time to study. If you want to study with the curiosity, you can go. Otherwise no need to worry. Just see the Indian economic development and macroeconomics and economy book given by the academy. இது ரெண்டும் பார்த்தா போதும். Okay, so no need to worry. Offline classes ஆரம்பிச்ச உடனே with hard copy of the book நம்ம கொடுத்துருவோம். இப்போ only till the online classes goes, we'll give you the soft copy. Okay, so now let us come to the mains part. For mains part also we'll be giving the notes, and the notes part it is enough. Apart from the notes, what you can see is current affairs. So current affairs you have to see editorials of various newspaper like Hindu or Mint. Either ரெண்டுத்துல வர editorials you have to follow. Apart from that, see the big picture. Big picture in Rajya Sabha television, daily they will be discussing the issues which is happening in India, and they will be having a discussion. So you see this debates on daily basis. Daily basis, syllabus relevant if they are debating, you just see the entire video and take notes from that video. இது வந்து நீங்க ராஜ்யசபா டிவி வந்து டிவில தான் பார்க்கணும் இல்லை, இட் இஸ் அவைலபிள் இன் த யூடியூப் ஆல்சோ. டெய்லி இந்த ராஜ்யசபா டிவி RS டிவின்னு ஒரு யூடியூப் சேனல் இருக்கு, அந்த சேனல் டெய்லி தேர் அப்லோடிங் த வீடியோ. இஃப் யூ கோ அண்ட் டைப் பிக் பிக்சர் ராஜ்யசபா டிவி, there are more than 1500 videos. So any concept, any current affairs issue, if you type, there is a video for that in big picture. So உங்களுக்கு எந்த current affairs concept படிக்கும் போது, if you want to have help, if you need any help, you can see. Like for example, நான் இப்ப சொன்னல investment models னு ஒரு டாபிக் சொன்னேன். Investment model, you just type investment models or public private partnership big picture Rajya Sabha TV. இந்த மாதிரி யூடியூப்ல சர்ச் பண்ணுங்க, public private partnership or investment models space big picture space Rajya Sabha TV நீங்க யூடியூப்ல சர்ச் பண்ணாலே அது ரிலேட்டடா ஒரு வீடியோ வரும். So அந்த மாதிரி for mains preparation, any topic if you want to study, you can refer this big picture and the editorials. Studying editorials and taking notes is the only main source for mains. ஏன்னா most of the questions are from current affairs and editorials deal with the current affairs. Okay. So next, finally, for any prelims related concept, current affairs la ungalku doubt irundhaduna, you can follow this website. This indianeconomy.net is one of the best website guides I would like to suggest. Economy related current affairs follow பண்றதுக்கு one of the best website is indianeconomy.net. So please refer the indianeconomy.net for any economy related current affairs and issues. இப்போ நீங்க inflation படிக்கிறப்போ inflationly if you are having any doubt, or monetary policy subjectly if you are having any doubts, that conventional part also will be dealt in that website. So follow indianeconomy.net for any economy related things. So this is how you have to study the economy. Economy preparation எப்படி இருக்கணும்? Finish the fundamentals first, attend the class, and finish the class notes or Kingmaker Science Academy book. This is the first step. Second step என்னது? Daily you have to follow daily current affairs. Daily current affairs and editorials you have to follow and take notes. This is the second step. Daily current affairs, economy related issues vanduna, you have to take notes, because 50% of the questions come from current affairs. Economy related any current affairs படிக்கணும். So Hindu la business column னு ஒன்னு இருக்கு, you can avoid that column. Avoid the business column in the Hindu. அது படிக்காதீங்க எடுத்த உடனே. ஸ்டார்டிங்ல நீங்க வந்து ஒரு ப்ரிப்பரேஷன்ல ஆரம்பிச்சு ஒரு 6 months ஆன பிறகுதான் you will understand the business column. So now you no need to touch the business column. Just study the daily current affairs and editorials as of now for economy, and see the big picture. That's enough. Okay. So this is how the holistic preparation for economy, guys. This is how you have to approach the economy. Now I'm opening up for question and answer session. If you guys are having any question and answer, you can ask me and I'm ready to answer. Any doubts regarding the preparation, you can ask me now. I'm ready to answer. Okay, someone has already typed and ready. RBI became the regulator of bank after the independence. Yes, RBI became the regulator that time only. Whether should we take notes from the 11th standard NCERT? Yes, we have to take notes from the 11th standard NCERT, because that NCERT is very important for both preliminary and mains and to understand the economic history of India. So maximum how much ever you can study, you have to study that 11th standard NCERT and take notes. Next, Ramesh Raj is asking whether there is a compulsory compensation when government acquires land for individuals' land for its project, and compulsory compensation have to be provided. Yes, see, government should provide compensation, and that compensation is compulsory. They have to provide, because providing compensation is protected under right to property. Right to property under Article 300. Article 300 of the Constitution, 300A of the Constitution provides right to property for an individual. So according to that article, whenever government is acquiring the land of individual, they should compensate. The amount of compensation varies. That depends on the present policy of the government. Okay, so that is the concept. And Ramesh Raj, your doubt is a very elaborate doubt. Once you study polity and right to property under polity, you will be understanding that. Sir, can you repeat what is effect of liberalization on Indian economy? So effect of liberalization means LPG reforms which we did in 1991. Okay, I'm not teaching here, I'm just explaining the syllabus. In 1991, we did this liberalization, privatization, and globalization reforms, and we opened up the Indian economy for foreign investment. Indian economy was closed, we opened it for foreign investment, FDI. So what is the impact of that liberalization on Indian economy? How it has affected the Indian economy or how it has benefited the Indian economy? So those kind of things will be dealt in that particular area. Yes, Amritavarshini, you have to take the notes. Difference between macro, Karthikeyan, wait, when once I'm teaching, I'll teach you. In the economics class, I'll solve your doubt. Economy syllabus, for economy syllabus, only business page of Hindu, no need. Or we can ignore that page totally. Like Shobana Murugesan, I'm not telling you to ignore the business page. If you start studying the business page now, you will not understand anything. And it will be waste of time only. So what I'm telling is ignore the business page now, ignore the world column also. Like in my newspaper session also, I would have discussed that. You study any editorial related to economy or any article related to economy in other places, but ignore the business page. Any editorial related to economy or international relations, you can study in the editorial area and you can ignore the world and business as of now. Only after studying the basics of economics, after finishing the classes, you'll be understanding the business area. No need to worry about it now, just read the daily current affairs. Yes, Deepshika, this video will be uploaded in the mega exams also. Will Kingmakers compilation book available for old students? Yes, Veeraram, it is available for old students. Do you start the classes of microeconomics concept? Yes, sir. We are going to start our classes. Kingmakers Science Academy is starting the online classes next week. So from next week onwards, all the subjects classes will be started. See, Amarnath, history, ancient India, medieval India, modern India, anyway you are going to study history till 1950. From 1950 onwards, you have to study this book. Till 1950, whatever thing is there, you will be studying in general history. Okay, that is part of general history. After 1950 onwards, also see, Indian history doesn't stop with the independence. After independence, also the history is continuing. That part of the history is covered into NCERTs. Okay, till 1950, whatever history is there, you will be studying in ancient India, medieval India, and modern India in history. But modern India, everyone are telling it is thinking that it is getting over in 1947. No, modern India doesn't stop in 1947. Modern India continues till the previous day. Till yesterday, whatever happened, it is part of modern India only. Okay, but only till 1947 only it is there in NCERT. So after 1947, whatever happened, you can study in these two books. One is Indian economic development. And two, there is another NCERT called politics, polity NCERT. Politics in India since independence. So this is also 12th standard NCERT. This is 11th standard NCERT. In these two NCERT, the entire history, political and economic history of India after 1947 is discussed. You can study that there. Nitya, if you are studying the Kingmakers IAS Academy textbook, if you want, you can study Shankar Ganesh. If at all, if there is any missed concept or any concept, if you want any clarity, you can see that. Yes, that compilation we will be giving you in the book format also. But now I've just shared the PDF. Yes, you have to take notes from the 2020 budgets. That's why I asked you to see the 2020 budget video. But don't take notes now. You study 2020 budget in the December once you have attended the classes. Ramya, your question is regarding the concepts. This is not the time to discuss the concept. I will discuss your doubt later. She is asking doubts regarding agriculture and biotechnology and all. That is the thing which we are going to discuss in the class. This is just an introductory session. I already shared the see economic compilation book will be shared next week. I think most probably next week or in next month we'll be giving. How to open Mega Exam Portal. For any doubts with respect to Mega Exam Portal, please contact the Academy. Sudarshan sir, I posted already the Sudarshan sir number. You please contact them. Meghna, I already answered. 11th, 12th NCERT you have to start with. If you are not comfortable with 11th, 12th NCERT, you then start with the 6th to 10th. With respect to economy, I'm telling. When we study about a scheme or act, should we learn all the amendments done or it is just the current status? Amritavarshini, don't need to study the entire act. what we have to study, you have to clearly understand. Only that issue which is there in current affairs, you just study that. No one can in this world can study the entire act except the lawyers. I don't know even if lawyers are reading it. So no need to worry about the entire act. If the act or any amendments is there in current affairs, you have to study those amendments. Okay, that's it. Yes, Ashwin Kaman, you have to read the government reports. Don't read now. You are now only you are starting the preparation. Okay. Now you just concentrate only on fundamentals. Now you just concentrate only on strengthening in the fundamentals. Economy, polity, geography, history, and the environment. You just focus in strengthening the fundamentals of these 5 subjects. Attend the classes and understand fundamentals. We'll bother about the government reports later. After 6 months or 8 months, you can study that. No need to follow any magazines for economics. Just follow the current affairs. That is enough. So for that, there are various compilation, Harish, for government schemes launch. If you just Google it, you can find it. There is various compilation. You just type schemes for UPSC compilation. If you are Googling like that, you can find various compilation which will deal with all the schemes launched by the governments. You just Google it. Schemes for UPSC or government schemes for UPSC. You just Google it, you will get. But you see my YouTube video in Kingmakers IAS Academy YouTube channel. I have made a video on how to study schemes. You see that video before seeing this individual scheme. Then only you will understand easily. Whatever scheme which is there in current affairs, you have to study, and whichever scheme is very important, you have to study. So you will understand that if there is a scheme in current affairs, you have to study. Apart from current affairs, if for example, if Digital India scheme, even if it is not there in current affairs, it is very important. Make in India scheme, even if it is not there in current affairs, you have to study. So important scheme you have to study, and additionally you have to study those schemes in current affairs. How to identify which is important scheme or which is non-important scheme, that you will understand you yourself in the next course of preparation. If you once come and settled in the seat, if you are starting the preparation, it will take almost 6 months to come and settle. So once you are settled in the preparation, 5 to 6 months it will solidly take. Once you are settled in the preparation, you will itself understand. So if you want to know the list of the scheme, just Google it. Government schemes for UPSC, and there are various compilations available online. Okay, in various websites, you can see that. Raghav Shankar, just now I said, you can start with the 11th standard NCERT. Okay, you can start with the 11th standard NCERT, Indian Economic Development and Introduction to Macroeconomics. If you are not comfortable with that, you can take 9th and 10th NCERT. Okay, in 6th to 8th, we are not having much in economics. You'll be just having only in polity. Only from 9th and 10th, you will be having economics. So if you are not confident enough to study 11th NCERT, you can take 9th NCERT. That's it. It's up to you. But mandatorily, you have to study 11th and 12th. Studying 9th and 10th is optional. If you want, you can study. If you are not feeling comfortable with 11th, you can study 9th and 10th. That's a simpler version. Okay. Any other doubts, guys? Shall we wind up the session? Okay. Okay, we'll wind up the session. We have come to the end of the session. Already it was a very long session. So thank you, guys. This video will also be available in the YouTube. You can see this video again if you are having any reference. If you are having any doubts, we'll start the economic class from next week onwards. Thank you.